there's a bipartisan group, that means they both have agreed to screw you royally, of 150 lawmakers in the House and the Senate that have decided that we need to cut much more. Okay. Right now, the super committee is discussing how they're going to cut the $1.2 trillion. A group of bipartisan lawmakers is calling themselves the Go Big Coalition, and they're saying that they should cut $4 trillion from the deficit. And in fact, the range that they put out there is $3 to $6 trillion. Okay. Now, they haven't been very specific about it, but they all seem to be indicating the same thing, which is cut Medicare and Medicaid tremendously, cut social programs tremendously, and then do tax reform, meaning take out the loopholes, but at the same time, maybe even cut corporate taxes and cut the highest bracket. It's the same grand bargain we've told you about a million times. And the Republicans are saying, oh, no, we need more. This is unacceptable. In fact, Hanserling is going to go out there and tell us how they're not going to compromise an inch.
But listen, any penny of increased static revenue is a step in the wrong direction. We can only balance that with pro-growth reforms, and frankly, the Democrats have never agreed to that.
Well,
so I don't know how many times I can tell you is that agreement's not going to happen.
All right. So, not a single penny in tax revenue. We're not going to increase taxes on the rich ever. We're the Republicans. What part of that did you miss? That guy is on the super committee. He's a representative for the Republicans. And Grover Norquist is going behind the scenes. He's the guy who's the biggest anti-tax activist in the country, saying, I already talked to all the House and Senate Republicans, and they're in my back pocket, and they will not increase taxes a dime. Okay, so end of this discussion. Harry Reid is very upset. He said maybe they should impeach Grover Norquist, which gives you a great view into the mindset in Washington. President Obama isn't the leader of the country. Grover Norquist, who is the one coordinating all the campaign money of the Republicans, is the one who's actually the leader of Washington. It's sad, but it's actually true. Hanserling now is going to do some more cutesy wordplay here. Let's watch.
The bottom line is, even President Obama has admitted that the main drivers of our debt crisis are Medicare, Medicaid, health care. Nothing else comes close. That's essentially what the president has said. I mean, we have Medicare that, frankly, is beginning to disserve its beneficiaries with forms of rationing and at the same time drive America bankrupt. But the Democrats will not put a plan on the table that fundamentally will save Medicare for current seniors and future seniors. And at the same time, they're insisting upon a minimum of $1 trillion tax increase on families and on small businesses at a time when our economy is the worst it's been since the Great Depression.
So let me explain what he's actually saying there. First of all, he says, oh, look, President Obama agreed we should cut Medicare and Medicaid, and that's the only thing he said. That's actually not true. He also said we should raise revenue, in other words, raise taxes. Now, do I actually believe President Obama? No, I don't. But he has said that, and Hanserling conveniently left that part out. And by the way, of course, the president helped the Republicans tremendously by agreeing that they need to cut Medicare and Medicaid, which now Hanserling is using to politically club him over the head. Another brilliant tactic by President Obama. And then he turns it around and he says, oh, we need to cut Medicare and Medicaid so we can save it. The Democrats don't want to save Medicare. We had to save the village by bombing it into oblivion. That was the only way. We saved the village by killing everybody inside of it. We saved Medicare by cutting it to the bone so it doesn't really exist anymore. That's the Republican plan. And then he says, of course, at the end there, euphemism for everything, which is, oh, raising these taxes would hurt small businesses. Of course, what he actually means is that it would cost the executives at the giant corporations an extra couple of pennies, which they told us is intolerable. So we are here to do their bidding and pretend that it's about small business, which is nothing but a lie. Hanserling continues with those lies here.
Republicans have gone a great way in trying to negotiate here. We put forth a plan that would actually save and strengthen Medicare. They rejected our plan that was in our budget. So we said, okay, if you don't like that plan, how about something called Rivlin-Domenici, which is a bipartisan plan written principally by Bill Clinton's former head of the Office and Management of Budget. We could negotiate around that. They rejected that too. Well, we put tax revenue on the table, something that frankly is contrary to our DNA as Republicans. But we said, you know what? If we're going to do that, let's at least do it in a way that will help the economy through pro-growth tax reform.
All right, now let me tell you what a joke Hanserling is. You know the tax revenue he put on the table it's not to actually raise taxes at all, not a penny. They say eventually, when the economy grows after we cut taxes, well, then we'll have more tax revenue because the economy grew. See, we put it on the table. Yeah, that's that same stupid supply-side economics that you've been trying for the last 30 years that has worked brilliantly for your masters, the top 1%, who now have 275% income growth over those last 30 years. It hasn't worked well for the rest of us, okay? And now he's here to say, oh, I offer tax revenue at some later date when the economy grows with my brilliant plan. And of course, as always, they get some Democratic lackey to sign off on their bipartisan plan. But it's not a small minority in the Democrats. It's a large portion of the Democrats. The guys who are part of the Go Big coalition, the first guy who spoke on it was Steny Hoyer. So that's when you knew, that's it. It's set in stone, man. Steny Hoyer is a corporatist in his core. Everything Steny Hoyer does is for the benefit of corporations. He's the second leader in the House for the Democrats after Nancy Pelosi. Walks around with his kerchief and he's like, oh, corporate master, how may I serve you? He's like the butler of the rich, okay? Democrat. See, they can call him whatever they like, but oh wow, you got Steny Hoyer to agree to have lower taxes and to put all of the pain on the middle class and the poor. I didn't see that coming.